The strange part wasn't the missing food. It was how carefully things were rearranged. Jack lived alone in a quiet duplex in Seattle. He was a night shift nurse, so most days he slept while the world turned. When he moved into the unit, the landlord warned him that the building was old. You'll hear creaks, maybe even scratching, but don't worry, it's just the wood settling. For a while he believed that, but then things began to disappear. Not in big ways, not at first. One day it was a banana, the next a few slices of bread, but the milk level was always off. Jack thought he was just tired, disoriented from overnight shifts. Maybe he'd forgotten he'd eaten. Maybe he was just getting sloppy. Then one night, while lying on his couch trying to drift off, he heard a noise from the ceiling. Not a creak, not a pop, a thud. He paused the TV. Silence. Then it came again. A soft, dragging sound. Slow, deliberate, like someone crawling just above his head. He grabbed a broom and tapped the ceiling. It stopped. He told himself it was raccoons, or maybe a squirrel. Seattle had them. He called his landlord, who promised to get someone to check the roof, but never did. But Jack couldn't ignore it anymore. The food kept vanishing. Cupboards were slightly open when he swore he'd closed them. One morning, the kitchen light was on, and he never left lights on. Then came the final straw. One night after a long shift, he returned home to find the attic hatch slightly open. Not fully swung down, but just ajar. That hatch had never been opened before. Jack stood frozen in his living room, key still in his hand, staring up at the wooden square in his ceiling. A faint draft drifted down from the crack. He didn't go to the bedroom, didn't even take off his shoes. He walked straight back out and called the police from his car. What they found still haunts him. Inside the attic, curled on an old pile of insulation, was a woman, pale, thin, dirt-streaked. She wore an oversized hoodie and held a small backpack. Inside were granola bars, Jack's stolen food, a journal, and photos. Photos of Jack, sleeping, watching TV, cooking, all taken through vents and small holes in the attic floor. She had been living above him for nearly 2 weeks. She entered through a hatch in the shared basement, waited until he left for work, and crawled down at night to eat, wash, and study him. She knew his routines, his schedule, and his habits. She wrote things like, he likes loud shows, doesn't hear much, he forgets to lock the fridge, he looks tired. She even wrote down the day she was going to come down and introduce herself. That day was circled. It was tomorrow. She was arrested and taken in for mental health evaluation. She had no prior record, no ID, and no connection to Jack whatsoever. He moved out within the week. To this day, he refuses to live anywhere with an attic, because what scared him most wasn't what she did. It was how long she had been there before he ever noticed.